Hey, what's going on? It's Mad Mike and Fabian. We're back with Music Talk Part 2. That's right, Podcast 11, Music Talk Part 2, the evolution of music, and where we think it's going and where our thoughts are laying upon the way the genre is just molding in the fog. But, the primordial soup of music. We last left off, we talked about how there are some independent artists out there in the game still doing it, and how Fabian was saying about the audiences they're going for and whatever it is that their niche is, they're making their success off of that. Damn, heartburn. While still keeping it real. So Fabian is an artist who, he may be Christian, but I know him, he's a friend of mine personally, and I as a Christian as well, I'm not perfect, but hey, we're all children under the Lord, so that's what counts.
Amen.
So here's my thing. My thing is, the way music is now, it's just, I remember there was a time, I guess like probably 3 or 4 years ago, with what I was seeing in music, before the whole techno electric dance crap like started kicking off, where it was the dubstep thing, and when dubstep was first coming into the scene, like I can't even tell you how many remixes of a rap song are dubstep, that it kind of bothers me a little bit. But one thing I was saying earlier, by the way, about the MCs who had lyrics.
Yeah.
Like, do I see, like you're saying, they have an image to portray rappers now. They have an image that they put on as a front, which I can agree with. But my thing is, I don't know how to explain it. It's like I was telling you earlier, do any of them go back? Like you said, Kendrick Lamar does. I know there are some independent artists that do, but it's kind of sad. Like, even artists from back in the day, like, are kind of getting played out to me, though, actually, now that I think about it. Like, Jay-Z had his moment of shining, a long time ago, and now that Jay-Z is on every Beyonce song that comes out, it's like, man, you really can't put out your own album anymore. You need Beyonce, I guess, to, be your weight, your paperweight, to help you weigh yourself down to still be in the scene. I mean, nothing against Jay-Z or Beyonce, but it's like, Destiny's Child's been broken up. Beyonce, you've had your moment of shining, and now you become this dark Beyonce over the years that, is showing off her body like insanely crazy. That's become so provocative and not clean like you used to be in Destiny's Child, that it's like, man, I feel like Daisy. I feel like Jay-Z really, soiled her in a lot of ways. But Jay-Z, everybody says he's like one of the greatest MCs or whatever. Whatever, man. I wasn't really a big fan of him, in my opinion, back in the day either, even though back then he sounded like he could rap a hell of a lot better. I prefer listening to Nas over Jay-Z, especially old Nas, the Illmatic album, which was his debut. Illmatic is a very great album. That was awesome. That's rap. That's hip-hop. That's great. Illmatic was amazing. It's like, some people like how Eminem's recovered and come out now, and I'm not gonna lie, his recovery album was really good.
It was.
Even though he did a song with Lil Wayne, you know what, man? A lot of people can hate on me, like, oh, Lil Wayne's the greatest MC ever. And not really. I can name 10 on my hand that are 10 times better than him. But I'll admit that there are some songs where Lil Wayne was sober, mind you, that he, because. That he actually said a good verse here or there, and I'm sure people can agree with me there, I mean, in high school, that's all everybody was, playing was, what, the Carter 3? Or the Carter, what was it?
Yeah, through high school was Carter 2, Carter 3.
I mean,
we were there.
Everything in high school was Lil Wayne. I don't care. And then Drake, because Drake was coming out with
Drake was like the beginning of college for me. Yeah. So.
Yeah, well, yeah, towards the ending of high school, beginning of, I guess, college for you, Drake was coming out, and then it was like, everybody was like, Drake, and I'm like, oh my god, this dude is like everywhere, man. And people, I mean, I get a little annoyed when people just blow up a rapper's name sometimes. I mean, I understand they're a good artist, and I used to tell people, stop playing Drake around me, it's annoying, but at the same time, I'm not gonna lie, the guy can spit a few good verses. I'm not gonna lie, he can spit a lot of good verses. The guy's actually a good MC, in my opinion. He can actually do some good tracks, some good tunes. I'm driving along, I'm like, oh, cool, that's that Drake song, We're Going Home, or whatever. I like that song. It's a good tune. It's a nice, smooth ride now.
Catchy.
It's catchy. It's catchy music, man. And I guess whatever, nothing wrong with a catchy song, you know what I mean? But what I'm upset about is just how we were getting those guys and then all of a sudden now we're getting even worse. As in, not because they're saying their names or people are like, oh, this guy's awesome, this guy's great. Oh, God, what is up with this, man? I'm telling you, that macaroni and cheese ad is just coming up. Anyway, so my thing is, with the way it's all going, it's just, I don't know, dude, it's sad. I'm glad Tech-N9ne's still around, and a lot of people can tell me and sit here and like tell me that the Insane Clown Posse are probably one of the worst artists ever. But here's the thing. If you read their book, and a lot of people, you know, will probably call me a liar, but it's actually true. They live in Detroit, which is a city that's kind of having a really... It's a very broken city.
It's a rough city.
You know, there's a lot of abandoned houses in Detroit. It's become kind of a vacant ghost town. I mean, it used to be known as the Motor City. It kind of still is in a way, but a lot of the manufacturing plants that made cars there shut down. So it's like...
Yeah, a lot of jobs lost.
Yeah, a lot of jobs were lost. So, you know, it's become a very not producing town for money, in my opinion. It's just the production of money flow there has kind of just gone down a lot. Very bad. But, and no offense to Detroit, I'm sure it was once a prominent, lovely city in its time, like every place is. But, my thing is, they live in that city, they have a success there, and if you read their book, they're actually self-made millionaires. They have a book that talks about what they do. And the way they succeed, I mean, dude, they might be the most horrible lyricist in the world, and they might not be the best artist out there, but here's the thing I respect personally about them that a lot of people probably don't. I respect the fact that they did it on their own. They made their own way. They got all the publicity of being the worst rappers, most violent rappers, influencing children to join gangs, calling themselves juggalos or whatever, which are their fans, and then juggalos are getting accused of being gang members. My thing is, I got nothing against those people, man. Whatever, man. That's your thing. Do it. That's what you like to do. You like to paint your face and rap. Do it. It's different.
Yeah, but you see all these independent artists. Why, like I said, why are they successful? Because they got they got their niche market. You know, if you don't have to be, played on the radio, Y100 or 90 Power 96, wherever you're from. I think in New York is Z100. All these mainstream radio stations. You don't have to be played on them to be making money or to have a fan base. It's like you gotta have your niche market, and for ICP they started the Juggalos, and they got, that's kind of like, I don't say this in a disrespectful way, well, some people might see it this way, but it's like a cult following, kind of like in a way where it's like they got such a tight following where those people, they ride with them thick and thin.
Oh, but it's true. It's very true. And it's a true fact and a statement you're saying.
Even people like, people I respect and look up to, like Lecrae and 116, they got their following, which is a niche market. And these people, Lecrae just topped Billboard. I mean, even if it was for a week, but he topped Billboard, and that's a big deal for a Christian artist because they never did that before. A Christian rapper, especially.
That actually is a very, very awesome thing he accomplished.
And he did that, without being played on major radio stations, and being independently ran his own record label. And he does that because, and they're filling up stadiums. These people, and they're doing that. Why? Because they're doing that because they have a niche market, a market that they could focus on, that's theirs. All these other people like the Kanyes. Kanye kind of stepped back for a while, but like people like the Maroon 5 or the Justin Timberlake, the Jay-Z, the Beyonce. These people, they probably got a huger fan base, but at the end of the day, their fan base, I would say, is not as loyal and dedicated. They're kind of just making music for the masses.
No, of course.
And at the end of the day, those people who buy a Beyonce CD or whatever, they can buy one CD and then just forget about the next one, or they'll legally download the next album. It's not as faithful, but they're still they're still reaching out to so many people because they got it on radio. But these people like Lecrae and Tech-N9ne and ICP and all these people, they got a focused fan base that they're with them through thick and thin, and it feels like a movement to their fan base. It feels like something bigger, and that's why they'll actually buy their album. They'll support them. They'll buy their clothes, their shirts, their hats, and that's how they make their money. You don't have to be huge on radio and stuff like that, but if you got a fan base that's focused, niche fan base and stuff like that, you can live off of that fan base and support your family and be,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, think about it. What I was saying about the Insane Clown Posse is, yeah, you're right. They have the niche fan base. They make their money off the merchandise, and all that stuff of these loyal fans that'll buy that stuff no matter what. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's fans out there that buy literally every single album that they put out, whether it's a bad album, whether it's a good album. Those people are buying the albums. They're buying the clothing. They're buying the shirts. I mean, even Lecrae. Lecrae's probably dropped, no offense to him, but I mean, there's certain songs on his albums that I think are kind of like, a little outdated and whatever. I mean, but whatever, man. I still buy his albums out of support. But something that's funny about ICP, the Insane Clown Posse, they said, oh, well, we don't care if people download our stuff illegally as long as they hear it. That may be true, but that's probably because now they're making so much money they don't care. I mean, they've even given out free albums and free downloads, I mean, occasionally, and a lot of artists...
But sometimes, if you look at the music industry in general, artists are mainly not even making their main source of income off of music.
It's all about merchandise.
It's about the merchandise and the shows. That's what they're making their money and stuff like that.
Performing.
And the music itself is just kind of like a promotional tool now.
Right.
That's why you see sometimes these people give out their albums for free or donation or whatever. Radiohead, I forget which album it was, they gave out their album for a name your price, like in Target. You could go to Target and get the Radiohead album, and you just pay at the register what you think you want to pay, and they sold a lot and they made a lot of money. Like,
it's kind of cool, actually. I like that concept, actually.
Yeah.
I like I said, man, so in general with this whole talk, we've talked about the independent artists, how there are those out there during this whole debacle of awful music that's out there, like, I mean, I'm hoping that, hip-hop will come back. I'm hoping hip-hop will come back to the good old days of, hey, like Kendrick Lamar, I like the fact he's bringing back, what being a rapper and an MC is about.
Yeah.
Like, people like the new Eminem. I do too, but not as much as I did the old school Eminem, because I felt like he was more aggressive and more out there with his lyrics, and it was like more like, he was angry and pissed. So you felt like, like that song, The Way I Am,
people grow.
No, of course, people grow. Change, I mean, there's an artist I listen to from the Midwest. He's been out for years, but I discovered him like a year or 3 years ago. The group known as Atmosphere, which consists of the main rapper Slug.
I've gotten so many times people comparing me to Atmosphere.
Really?
Yeah, so many times people are like, you look like Atmosphere. You remind me of Atmosphere. You kind of rap like
Really?
Atmosphere.
I didn't know you even that. Do you even listen to Atmosphere that much?
No. I got from completely different people. Like, hey, do you know Atmosphere? Like,
I listen to Atmosphere.
Him, and like, oh, you remind me of him. Like,
well, I listen to Atmosphere, so I mean, I look at it like this, man. I think that, like I said, I hope music's gonna get back on its feet. Where, I mean, dude, honestly, man, we've lived through how many decades have we lived through now?
We lived through, we only lived through
one,
2.5.
We've only lived through 2.5 decades, and music is just going too futuristic. I feel like I'm living in like, the year 2029 when I listen to the radio sometimes, and I feel like I'm flying in a DeLorean. I mean,
it's gonna change. Every generation though says like, back in my day.
Well, we're gonna be that. We're that generation right now. That's what we are.
To be honest, I'm not a big fan of all like. I like electronic music. I mean, shoot, I do it sometimes too. But as far as just the way everything though now is going to EDM, it's like you see some of the artists you grew up with turning EDM, and everything is EDM. You turn on the radio station, every song is EDM.
No, I
understand that is annoying, and it annoys me. It's like sometimes I want to hear something different. But I will say you're starting to hear artists break away from that though lately.
Thank God.
Yeah, you're starting to hear people break away.
Yeah,
from
no,
it
exactly. I'm happy.
Trying to, do something different and stuff. So it's time. I think we're gonna start entering later into this decade. We're gonna start seeing a change, and you're gonna see people that they want to change into something new.
Well, thank the Lord for that.
It happens like all the time.
Hopefully,
like,
we'll get more, you know, originality like the old school Lupe Fiasco and Outkast and Nas and, you know, Big L and, you know.
We might. I think last decade or the last few years, there was kind of like, you remember, the whole 80s retro kind of little thing and people were going for. Now it's kind of like 90s retro.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I hope musically it kind of goes like that too. Because,
I like the 90s rap. I thought it was great.
Yeah, you know.
But I'm hoping in general everything goes well. I think it will though, man. I think everything's going to go for a good change. I mean, you've got rappers out there still independently keeping it real as an MC and for the love of the music.
Yeah.
And, you know, you got rappers like Atmosphere, Tech Nine, Kendrick Lamar, who's actually not underground. He's more out there now.
He's mainstream, yeah.
So, but he still keeps. So there are artists.
It is possible to be yourself and to keep it real. Well, who says that anymore?
Keep it real.
We'll
say keep it real. Man.
You know, we're talking about 90s retro. Yeah, it's possible to keep it real and do that your stuff and still be mainstream, but it's harder. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But that's our whole part two segment on music talk. You know, with the evolution of the way hip hop was going. I'm Mad Mike. This is my special guest star, Fabian. You can tell them your link, your website. I'm going to put the link below.
Yeah, you can get my music at Fabian.com. It's spelled Faybn. Fabian.com, Faybn. You can also follow me here on SoundCloud at, just look up Fabian.
Same thing with YouTube, right?
Yeah, YouTube, just look up Fabian. Twitter, the only thing that's different is Twitter. It's Fabian Music, Faybn Music. I'm on Instagram, Fabian, same thing, Faybn, and Facebook as
His
also.
best song, guys. I'm going to let you know right now. It's one of my favorite tracks on his album, Shy Guy. Listen to that track.
Shy Guy.
You're never going to look back. Oh, I made a rhyme. But look at that. I'm breaking in my hip-hop skills. But yeah, anyways, so, yeah, also, you can check Mad Mike out. My, channel you're on right now, guys. So, yeah, I have a YouTube channel. The Mad Mike Show. Don't be afraid to check it out. I'll put the link below. If anything, comment if you'd like. Let us know what you think about music and what it's going through, and what you think of music in general. Comment, subscribe to our YouTube channels, like our videos. Do all that awesome stuff, man. We appreciate the support. We thank you for it. Mad Mike over and out.
Fabian over and out.
All right, that's the conclusion, guys. Have a nice night.